friends. I hope you are all well. I hope you're taking care of yourselves. I myself am a little anxious right now because I am scheduled to be an election judge tomorrow. A 15-hour day around a lot of people. What was I thinking? But hey, someone has to do it. So if you have insomnia at 4 a.m. Chicago time, send a little blessing my way because I'm going to need it. Now today's topic, I would not pick today's topic if it were all about me. If it were all about me, we'd be talking about baby bunnies today and baby chicks, little baby animals. Hi Rita, I'm glad Rita's here. But instead, we're going to talk about something controversial, a controversial subject. And that is the subject of whether or not voice lessons should include music literacy training. Now, in the grand scheme of things, on the controversy continuum, this is pretty low. But it is nevertheless a thing that some voice teachers wonder about. And some voice teachers have very strong opinions about. Some voice teachers have opinions about it, but they don't always feel strongly about those opinions. So, except for those people who are not here today because they have strong opinions about it, and they saw my banner and they said, I already know the answer to that, I feel strongly about that, then there will be something for everyone today, except for those people who aren't here anyway, so we don't care. Alexis is here. Hi, Alexis. Oh, Alexis is thanking me for stepping up for the election. You're welcome. I'm doing my part for democracy. So, there will be some takeaways today that I hope you will ruminate on. I mean, we're musicians. Teaching people who are developing their musical ability, aren't we almost obligated to teach them the written language of their art form? Maybe. Maybe we are. It depends. It depends on a number of things. And we are going to unpack some of those things today. And I'm going to offer you a terrific little tool. Christine is here. Hi, Christine. Christine Thomas O'Mealy is here. Fabulous diva that she is. I'm going to offer you a terrific tool for your microphone singers, courtesy of, speaking of fabulous, the fabulous Brenda Earle Stokes, who has agreed to share her smartness with you guys today, which I think is so super nice of her. Anyway, on we go. Sorry, my slides. I'm my own production assistant, so I do the best I can. I am Meredith Colby, and I help voice teachers create confident teaching and singing of contemporary styles. You can find me right here on Facebook every Monday at 1 o'clock Central, and at meredithcolby.com, where you can buy my book, Money Notes, and you can also schedule private sessions with me, and you can also sign up for the Neurovocal Method certification course in February. Thank you for being here with me today, and thanks for saying hi. I love when people who are here actually tell me that they're here, because it makes me feel not so alone in the world. Anyway, thank you for being here with me today, or on the replay. I hope you will feel free to contribute your thoughts as we go along here, questions, experiences, whatever. And if I or another voice teacher says something that provides you with a takeaway, or any other reaction, give them a heart, give them a thumbs up, give them a comment. It's all good. We're all in this together here today. So my freebie here, okay, here's my freebie. Wait, where's my freebie? There it is. Okay. It is, as I said, it is not my thing. It is a thing of Brenda Earle Stokes. I told her what we were doing today. And because the whole, why learn more than you need to know is kind of Brenda's jam, that's what she does. She teaches piano to singers. And she made a little thing that you can share with your students. And you can see, I made a little picture of it, and you can see that she's created it in such a way that once you explain it to your students, they will understand how to transpose their songs. So very handy, especially for people who are not super musically literate. So after the broadcast today, I'm going to put a link in the comments so that you can click that link and go to someplace that will allow you to download this fabulous tool. I mean, it's way bigger than that. I just gave you a little, that's just, don't think that's all of it, because that's not all of it. That's just a little look at it. And if you comment on the broadcast today or in the replay or whatever, then when I put that link up, you'll get a little notice in your notifications that will say, Meredith commented on your blah, blah, blah. And then that will tell you to come over and you can click on that link and get Brenda's cool thing. So most voice teachers, here we go, we're diving in. Most voice teachers, not all, but most, come from a background where they have had some or a lot of college voice lessons. Many come from a background in music theater or opera. Many are people who started playing instruments before or at the same time that they started singing. And, oh, Alexis wants it. I know, right? It's a really good thing, Alexis. Brenda's chart. So if you are one of those people, those trained people, musically trained people, college trained singer, theatrical singer, instrumentalist, then you learned how to read music. In doing that, you learned how empowering it is to be able to read music, right? It lets you communicate with other musicians. It lets you learn music from a printed page. It lets you accompany yourself as you sing, even if you're kind of lame like I am. But still, I can still get around. You may have learned solfege along the way. And then you became that crackerjack singer, sight reader that, made all the other people in your voice section and in the choirs want to sit next to you. Right? I think we can all agree that knowing how to read music when you need to read music is a very empowering thing. So, now we move on. See this? I don't usually have visual aids, but today I have a visual aid. See that? As soon as I held this up, you had in your head the name of this object, right? You could just as quickly do the same with, is it this? With this. Boom, you knew it right away, right? So let's play. Let's play with an idea for a minute here. Let's pretend that you have never before in your life seen one of these things. And now I'm going to hand it to you. And what is the first thing you're going to do? You're going to discover things about this object. You're going to see that it's smooth, that it's cool, that it has this diggy shape to it. You're going to find that it makes noise when you hit it against something, and then you can use it as a tool. You could dig with it. You're going to find it feels nice when you touch it to your skin, right? All these possibilities in this thing. This little metal curvy thing is just full of possibilities. It is a truly wonderful object. The only problem that we have in this little scenario is that when you need to tell someone you want one of these, what are you going to call it? You're going to say, excuse me, would you please hand me that silver metal, smooth, bangy, curvy digging thing? And you may get what you asked for, maybe, and you may not. And I assume you are with me on this analogy, right? You're following me? Hey, Joel is here. Joel, hey Joel. Good to see you. Yes, desserts. He's thinking of desserts. You and me both, buddy. Okay, so you're with me on this analogy, right? Now, if I don't know the rules for music, if I haven't been trained to read written music and communicate in the accepted parlance of written music, then music will hold possibilities for me that it may not hold for a trained musician. So there are a lot of famous music musicians in general, composers in particular, who don't read music, never learned to read music, or started out not knowing how to read music. For me, that pretend person who doesn't read music, music is an aural and proprioceptive experience. It is not a visual experience. I have expectations for music, sure, because I've been listening my whole life. I've intuited many of the elements that create the music that I like, that I listen to. But I am not really aware of those things as rules. And I don't feel that I need to meet certain expectations for the way that music plays out, so to speak. And Joel Pilka, who, by the way, I'm just gonna add Joel right here. I think I'm going to. No, I'm not. I'm not sure why I can't do that today. Oh no! I can't add comments. Let me try that again. Excuse me, people. Sorry about that. Again, I need a production assistant. Joel Pilka, who is a songwriter, says, that's me. And he is a songwriter. I've heard his songs. So, and I'm going to, take a sec to remind you that to get Brenda Earle Stokes download today, it's really good for your microphone singers in your studio. It's a helpful transposition. Let's try that again. A helpful transposition tool designed for someone who does not read music. So any comment that you put in there, you'll be notified when I post the link to Brenda's awesome tool. Now, the reason you have to read music when you are in the fields of music theater and classical music, or music education, of course, is because you have to communicate. We have to communicate. In my example with the spoon, we find it very handy that we can ask for a spoon when we need a spoon. We don't have to describe the spoon to communicate about the spoon, right? That would take a long time. But instead we get to just say spoon. And when we need to learn music quickly, and when we're working and creating in an environment where the fluency in the language of music really speeds up the pace of everything, think rehearsal, choir, music theater, opera, any of that, being able to speak the language is necessary. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity. We need to be able to say, hand me that spoon, as it were, right? Now, for your microphone singers, though, this quote probably makes a lot of sense. Where's my quote? Here it is. That quote. Let's acknowledge that music literacy is a type of language. And like all languages, it takes time and diligence to learn. And you have to have someone to practice it with. You have to have somewhere to practice it. You also have to want to learn it because it's hard. You have to be in a situation where you probably have to learn it, right? Otherwise, you won't. You just won't. It's human nature. Unless you are, the occasional person is really internally motivated to learn another language, but mostly not. And for this episode of Meredith's Facebook Live, the takeaway is this. Your band singer does not need to know how to read music. Insert ominous music here. If your band singer or your singer-songwriter says to you, if they say, hey, voice teacher, I would really like to learn how to read and write music, then fine. Then they're saying to you, I want to learn a language, even though it's hard. But mostly, thanks for the hearts, you guys. I see you guys giving me some hearts on this. But mostly they're not going to do that. I've been teaching these people, these band singers, singer-songwriter people, almost exclusively for 32 years. And I can think of one instance right offhand where the band singer said, I want to learn how to read music. One. So they just mostly don't do that. And the reason is because in their world, they just simply do not use written music. Musicians in bands learn and create by ear, generally speaking. Now, again, I always say this, but I'm speaking in generalities. Generalities assume exceptions. So we're going to assume that we are going to assume that there are exceptions to my generalities, okay? Singer-songwriters create music using the incredibly available and very cheap recording technology that we now have available to us. Most popular songs go from inception to creation to recording without anyone ever taking pen to paper. As it were, because nobody does that anymore either. They have cool software to write it down. But if the song becomes popular, then some nice person, some nice college-educated musician who works at Hal Leonard is going to transcribe what they are hearing. But do not imagine for a second that it went the other way around, that the song was written down first and then recorded. I assure you, it did not happen that way. Hold on a second. I'm going to take just a second here because Joel has another, gosh darn it. Okay. So Joel, this is good because Joel is kind of the guy we're talking about today. And he says, I want to learn the piano. I want to learn to write using the piano, and that's my motivation. Fantastic. And so and I'm going to say this to Joel, to the Joels of the world, that is great motivation, and piano is such an amazing thing to learn written music on because it is so visual as opposed to your guitar, which Joel plays guitar. I happen to know that. And guitar is not such a visual instrument. It's hard to see. And piano is fantastic for that. However, if Joel was not personally motivated to do that, he would know the chords he was playing on his guitar. He would write down the lyrics, he would write down the chords, and then he would record what he had created. And then that would be the song until someone decided to write it down, which might never ever happen. If you are a voice teacher who values music literacy and feels strongly that your students should learn the basics of music, I am not going to try to change your mind. Not my job. I'm just suggesting to you that you consider your audience when you make the choice about how to spend your students' lesson time. Oh, Christine's so smart, and she has a big comment here, and I want to include it. Okay, hold on. Okay, so let's put a pin in that. Consider your audience when you are making choices about how to spend your students' lesson time. And then I want to bring Christine's comment here because she's Christine. And she says, I've heard people say music theater performers don't need to learn to read music, but I've worked with people who don't, and seeing them try to get through a musical rehearsal only using the words in the libretto is mind-blowing. Even if they could just look at it and see where it's going up and down, it would be so much faster. And Christine, I think, I could be wrong, but I think you and I share the experience of having been a music director I've done music theater music directing, and maybe you've done operatic or music theater music directing. If somebody doesn't read music, even if there's one or two people who don't read music, it just slows the whole thing down. You're absolutely right. Because that's in that community, it is crucial. You have a certain amount of rehearsal time. You have to get through it. You must speak the language. If I'm in a band and we meet every Thursday night to rehearse, and Thursday night and Saturday afternoon, and we are rehearsing for the gigs that we have whenever we have the gigs. Now, pandemic notwithstanding, we have a gig once a week or once a month, or however frequently we do. We use those rehearsal times in the best way that we can. If none of us read music, that's going to slow things down in the same way Not the same way. In a similar way that it slows down the music theater rehearsal, but in the music theater rehearsal, a majority of the people probably read music. And in the band rehearsal, a minority or none of the people read music. So in that case, and this is what I'm moving into in this discussion, so thank you for saying that. So you think about your band singer and your singer-songwriter, and remember that written music is a way to communicate about music to other musicians. In your awareness of that, the next question would be then, what does my student need to communicate, right? Because they don't have to do what the music theater singer does. They don't have to learn with a bunch of people from written music. Depending on their situation, they may need to know about song form so that they can indicate sections of a song in a rehearsal. Like, I'd like to go back to the bridge and start from there. If you don't know about song form, it can take a really long time to describe the bridge, right? Because you know the lyrics as the singer, but the drummer might not. So then we have a whole discussion about what constitutes the bridge of the song. They might need to know how chords are built if they are expected to make up harmonies, as many singers are in these situations. In fact, the wonderful and fabulous Elizabeth Howard, who will be with me on November 16th, woo, has a book called The ABCs. Actually, I made a slide for that because I want you to remember it. She has a book called The ABCs of Vocal Harmony. And it might be just the ticket for those students. At any rate, your band singer or your singer-songwriter would probably benefit from knowing about the concept of song keys, so that they can understand why some songs work better than others, so they can begin to ask for what they need, so they can write in comfortable keys. And, oh, Rita says, woohoo, to Elizabeth, right? I know that's going to be good. So all that means to you, the voice teacher, you should keep your antenna up, your little voice teacher magical antenna that you have. You should keep them up for the things that will help make the musical experience for your student more empowering and fun. You know what they are. They don't necessarily. I mean, seriously, they may not understand that there is such a thing as song form. But you do. So if you can help them understand that there is a way for them to communicate that in a rehearsal, yay! You've just empowered them. Now, I don't want to say this piece really, but I must. I don't want to, but I must. I must. If you try to teach them the language of music and they don't want to learn it, and they have no place to use it, then you're basically chasing them out of your studio. I'm sorry. You're chasing away a client. That's what's happening. What they need from you is help navigating their voices with contemporary popular music. And people, if you can do that in one voice lesson a week, then please know, from me to you, you are doing enough. That is a lot. Just that is a lot. It's more than enough. It's killing it. That's the absolute best way you can be there for your band singer or your singer-songwriter. Just that. Be the voice teacher. Teach the voice. It's the best thing you can do. Of course, I know that's not what any of us ever do. There's always more to it than that, because we're voice teachers. But you are awesome. You're doing awesome. Just that's enough. You're great. So I want to see if I have any more comments I should respond to here. Christine. Oh, Christine said another thing. Oh, okay. Well, I try to finish on time, but Christine keeps saying smart stuff. So, oh no, this is Chris Chesson. Oh, great. Okay, so Chris says, one of the arguments I have with my music theater voice students, not only the sight singing piece, which out in the theater world doesn't necessarily happen, but that the composers write in certain symbols and dynamics to further the communication of the storyline. Right. If you don't understand that terminology and be able to follow your line of music in the score, you will be behind. I have had some voice students come back and tell me that they wish they had listened to me because now they feel lost in rehearsals at university. There you go. And you can say, see, you should have listened to me. I was right. I say that to my family. I'm like, family, say my favorite 3 words I love to hear. And they go, you were right. You were right, Chris. Yes, that is, yes. Oh, and Rita says, that's a true statement for sure. Oh, I know what you're talking about when I said, if you try to teach them things they don't need to learn, they will leave you, right? I lost an amazing teenage singer because I thought she needed to read music. She quit that week after 5 years. I'm sorry, Rita. I know, I've done it too. I've done it too. Oh, then Joel. All right. He's telling me I rock. Isn't that nice? How would you like to have a handsome man come to your live broadcast and tell you that you rock and that he misses your lessons? Anyway, thank you, Joel. Miss you too, man. I'm glad you're doing so well, though. So I'm going to call it. I so appreciate your smart things that you said today. Thank you for contributing to this live. It makes all the difference. I just love it. I hope I gave you some takeaways. You certainly gave me some takeaways today. Hearts and thumbs, guys, and I will see you next week. Don't forget to look in the comments for the link. And 2 weeks from today, I will have Elizabeth Howard with me on this broadcast. I'm here every Monday at 1 o'clock on Facebook. You can find me at meredithcolby.com. Have a great week. Stay safe. If I'm not here next week, it means I didn't make it through the election. It means my polling place was bombed. God forbid. Anyway, have a great week. Stay safe. Vote. Bye.